The Heartbreak. There was a 24-year-old man named Michael. He wasn't the most striking individual in terms of looks, but he had a kind heart. Michael was in a happy relationship with his beautiful girlfriend, Emily. Michael had a good friend named John. John was everything Michael wasn't: handsome, well-built, and a bit of a playboy. However, despite his less-than-ideal reputation with ladies, John was always there to help out when his friends needed him. One day, Michael decided to introduce Emily to John. They all got together and went out for a fun day. John tried to make Emily laugh with his flirtatious jokes, but Michael trusted his girlfriend and brushed it off. Over the next few weeks, they all hung out together, and John and Emily became friends too. Michael had an important meeting to attend, so he had to leave early. He asked John if he could drop Emily off at her place. John agreed, happy to help his friend. John drove Emily to her apartment. As they drove home, John and Emily got to talking. They laughed, shared stories, and started to feel a deeper connection. Without Michael knowing, a seed of attraction began to grow between them. When they arrived, Emily invited John inside her apartment. He asked her if she could get him some water. They sat down on the couch, and as they looked into each other's eyes, they couldn't help but smile mischievously. There was a strong attraction between them, and Emily found it hard to resist John's presence and beautiful eyes. Feeling the connection, John moved closer to Emily, gently placing his hands on her lap. They continued to smile at each other, and their hearts started to beat faster with anticipation. Finally, they couldn't hold back any longer and shared a passionate kiss. However, right after the kiss, Emily started to feel a bit guilty. She knew that she shouldn't have kissed John, especially since she was Michael's girlfriend. But John reassured her that it wasn't a big deal, and convinced her to push those guilty feelings aside. Emily was so captivated by John's charm that her judgment was clouded. From that day on, Emily and John started talking on the phone without Michael's knowledge. They couldn't resist the urge to talk to each other, even though they knew it was wrong. It became their secret, and they decided not to let Michael find out. Meanwhile, Michael had no clue about what was happening between Emily and John. He remained focused on his work and spending time with his friends, including both Emily and John. They would often hang out together, enjoying each other's company, as if nothing was going on behind Michael's back. Michael could sense a change in Emily's behavior. It all started after that innocent kiss between her and John. Even though it meant nothing to Emily, it left her feeling guilty. She loved Michael deeply and had no intention of betraying him. However, as days passed, the guilt lingered in the back of her mind. One sunny afternoon, Michael, Emily, and John decided to hang out together. They planned a fun day exploring a nearby lake, and capturing memorable moments through photographs. Emily had a particular way of playfully tucking her fingers into the collars of Michael's t-shirt while taking pictures with him, creating a unique and affectionate gesture between the couple. But this time, as the camera clicked, Emily playfully repeated the same act with John, trying to create a sense of camaraderie within the trio. Michael noticed this gesture and felt a pang of pain in his heart. A brief moment of doubt plagued his mind. Was there something more between Emily and John? However, as much as Michael felt hurt, he couldn't bring himself to believe that Emily would betray him. He dismissed his doubts, not wanting to tarnish the bond they shared. He chose to trust in their love, and buried his anxieties deep within his heart. That night, as the clock struck midnight, Michael tried to call Emily. He desired to hear her voice, to feel connected even when they were physically apart. To his dismay, Emily's phone line was constantly busy. He felt a tinge of frustration but brushed it off, assuming she must be caught up in a long conversation with a friend. Hours went by, and as the night grew darker, Michael's concern intensified. He noticed that both Emily and John were active on social media, yet neither had responded to his call. Questions swirled in his mind as he wondered why they were occupied, but neglecting his desperate attempts to reach out. Unable to contain his emotions any longer, Michael decided to confront Emily. Michael arrived at Emily's apartment, hoping to find solace in her comforting presence, and to seek the truth behind her distant behavior. He knocked on the door, but there was no response. The emptiness in the air mirrored the void in his heart. He tried calling again, but his calls went unanswered. He could hear her giggles, and even her phone's ringtone inside. And to his surprise, he was certain about another manly voice he heard from inside was John's. The following day, he made a difficult decision to leave his job and the city behind. He packed his belongings, feeling a heavy weight on his chest that crushed his spirit. The world he had known, his dreams, and his relationship were crumbling before him. As the sun began to set, he made his way to the train station with no destination in mind. Tears streamed down his face, blending with the rain that splattered against the windowpane. Soon he found himself in unfamiliar places, surrounded by unfamiliar faces. The pain of heartbreak rooted itself deep within him, refusing to let go. He felt broken, defeated, and lost in a world that seemed to have turned against him. Years later, one day, as Michael sat in a quiet cafe, he noticed a familiar face in the crowd. It was Emily, looking devastated and lost. His heart raced as he contemplated whether to approach her or remain hidden in the shadows. It took a moment of courage for their eyes to meet, and in that instant, their shared pain became evident. Without exchanging words, they sat together. The silence between them spoke volumes. Somewhere beneath their broken hearts, the love they once shared whispered softly. Time had carved its mark on both of them, leaving scars that would forever remind them of lost happiness.